reason I got involved with the henna page as I did, when I started with henna in about 1990, I was teaching at Kent State, went to the research library, thought, wow, this henna stuff is really great. What can I find on it in our big research library? And the answer was Jack. I found Westermarck's books, and that was it. Being the Aries that I am, I was refused to take that for an answer, and started digging and digging and digging and digging. One of the things I happened to bump into was a book on the Queen of Sheba, and it included a couple of Persian miniatures showing the Queen of Sheba having a huge amount of patterning on her hands. One was in the British Library and one was in the Bodleian Library in Oxford. Being infatuated with henna, I pounced on henna page as fast as I could shove my husband away from the computer and find the URL, which took some diligence, even in 1996. That's when I first found it. About when there was only one page of forum on the henna page. It was that early on. And I found out the person who was running the henna page at the time, Jeremy Roundtree, was in Oxford. He was computer ops for St. Catherine's, which is how he happened to bump into the old Rhuboard script. And since he was computer ops at St. Catherine's and they were allowing him server space at the time, he said, well, can I put a forum on the university server and play with it to see how these forum scripts run? Well, after 3 years, there was more henna page forum than there was entire computer activity at St. Catherine's University, and they said, you're going to have to move that thing. So it moved and moved, and eventually I got, the henna page became mine. But through my relationship with Dr. Roundtree, I said, there's this painting, this miniature in the Bodleian Library. Would you happen to know how I can get access to the Bodleian Library? And he told me. And I said, well, is it a book I could borrow? And the answer was, hell no, you don't borrow books from the Bodleian Library. Okay, thank you, that's a good morning. Eventually, I managed to visit Oxford, stayed with Dr. Roundtree, got into the Bodleian Library, and started researching original manuscripts from Persia and elsewhere that had 400, 500, 600-year-old paintings that showed henna on women's hands. And I went in after massive amounts of paperwork, and you've got to have recommendations from all of your best profs and all kinds of criminal background checks to see if you are not going to go in there and light matches to their books. Then when you finally get your Bodleian reader's card, you make an appointment several months ahead of time. You tell them exactly what manuscripts you want to see. You get to go in there with one pad of paper and one pencil, and all pairs of glasses you can bring. I brought 2 pairs of glasses and 3 jeweler's loops. And you ask for the book to be brought up, and someone brings it up, and you've got silk gloves on your hands, and they've got silk gloves on their hands, and you're allowed to look at the book. And the hands of the women on most of the manuscripts are smaller than the eraser on a pencil, quite a bit smaller. So the area of detail available to transcribe what would have been henna patterns 500 and 600 years ago is very, very small. But I diligently sat there and copied them out with my pencil, went back again, jumped through all of the relevant hoops to get into the British Library, applied to read those books, and was told by a very unpleasant fellow, no, you can't see that book. It's already been out once this year. We can't take it out more than once a year. Okay, thank you. intense, researches of looking at original material. Had all my notes, and I sat down to do these 2 research papers, because I had 2 last papers to do before I started writing the dissertation, and realized, oh, hell, Microsoft and all of the great libraries of the world have entered into this grand project of taking high-resolution scans of absolutely every rare book out there. And now all you have to do is get through all the right gatekeepers, and you can view all of these things in high resolution online. Okay, the next round of you who do these research projects are going to have it a damn sight easier than I did. And I'm very happy for you that, through the next 10 years, thousands of original manuscripts will become available for study. I was able to, get a couple of, pretty righteous ones, in this round. And if you've downloaded the books, the 2 books I wrote on Persian Henna, they're terrific. You've already seen them. If not, they're in the CDs, which Roy's just passed to you. I have seen probably 150 original images of Persian henna. That's probably 1/100th of what's actually available out there, because I've never been able to get to the Russian libraries. I can't read French, I can't read Spanish, I know the stuff's out there, much less what's still available in the great Arabic libraries. So there's a huge amount of material out there, and this is going to be what I was able to access just by myself, just speaking English. There's 1,000 doctoral dissertations out there on henna, and you'll go get to do the next 999. I get this one done, I'm out of here. That's enough.